Look at the left side of your screen. Millions of people, lost in a frenzy. Their faces are painted, their voices are hoarse, and their entire emotional universe for the next 3 hours hinges on whether a piece of inflated leather passes between two metal posts. Now, look at the right side of your screen. That's you. Or at least, that's how the sports fanatic sees you. A statue, a mystery, a person who is apparently immune to a virus that has infected the majority of the population. If you are the person on the right, you've been called boring. You've been told you lack passion. You've been asked, how can you not care? But here is the truth that the screaming masses don't want you to know. Your brain isn't broken. It's not empty. It's just wired for a different kind of survival. And according to neuroscience, that quiet brain of yours might be the most fascinating thing in the room. Let's rewind 10,000 years. You're standing in a field. You see a saber-toothed tiger. If you're alone, you're lunch. If you're alone, you're lunch. If you're with your tribe, a group of people who share your dialect and paint their faces like you survive. For millennia, the human brain learned one unbreakable rule: connection equals life. Fast forward to today. The saber-toothed tiger is gone, but the tribe remains. When a fan screams, "We won," after a game, they aren't lying. Their brain is literally flooding with oxytocin, the same chemical that bonds a mother to her child. Their ancient hardware is tricking them. These 11 strangers are my clan. Their safety is my safety. Their victory is my survival. But you're sitting there on the couch, watching them scream, and you feel nothing. Why? Psychologists have a term for people like you. You have low tribal reactivity. Your brain doesn't automatically seek safety in the herd. Your identity isn't built on the foundation of us. It's built on me. A 2019 study on social identity dropped a bomb on the sports world. It found that people with low sports interest don't just lack the passion for the game, they lack the toxicity of the game. They don't engage in us versus them thinking. When you see the opposing team, you don't see enemies. You just see other people. You aren't hardwired to hate the rival tribe. And in a world that is increasingly polarized, that ability to see the other without hatred isn't a flaw. It might be a superpower. But wait, let's look inside the head of the fanatic for a second, because what happens to them is actually a little concerning. Have you ever watched a gambler pull the lever on a slot machine? That wide-eyed look of anticipation. Now, look at a football fan on a third down. It's the same face. Inside their brain, a chemical called dopamine is firing. It's the wanting chemical, the anticipation chemical. Every snap of the ball, every pitch, every free throw is a microdose of uncertainty. Will they score? Will they fail? fMRI scans show that watching your team win activates the exact same reward centers as winning money. But here is the evil genius of sports, the unpredictability. If your team won every game 100-0, you'd be bored. You'd stop watching. It's the risk of loss that keeps the dopamine flowing. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. It's the same principle that makes a gambler sit at a machine for 12 hours. They don't know when the win is coming, so they just keep watching. And this is where you come in. Why doesn't that slot machine effect work on you? Because your dopamine system might be built differently, literally. Researchers at the University of Chicago dropped a bombshell when they linked spectator sports interest to genetics. They found that variations in the DRD4 gene, the dopamine receptor gene, can predict how much you enjoy vicarious competition. In simple terms, the fanatic's brain is a sponge, soaking up the emotional highs and lows of the game. Your brain? It's made of Teflon. The stress, the victory, the loss, it all just slides right off. You aren't choosing to be indifferent. You might be genetically immune to the addiction. There is also a sneaky little psychological trick happening in the stadium, and non-fans are the only ones who see it clearly. It's called BIRGing, basking in reflected glory. Listen closely to how a fan talks. If their team wins, "We won the championship." If their team loses, "They played terribly." Did you catch that pronoun switch? It's a mental shield. They merge with the group for success, but distance themselves from failure. They borrow glory they didn't earn to prop up their self-esteem. But you don't need that. Your self-esteem isn't riding on the back of a quarterback. It's stable. It's internal. You don't need a championship ring to feel like a winner, because your identity isn't for rent. It belongs to you. Now the fanatic will say, but we feel empathy. We care about these players. We cried when they got hurt. And they're right, they do feel it. But here's the catch. Empathy is a zero-sum game. Psychologists talk about empathy allocation. You have a limited tank of emotional gas. If you pour 3 gallons into a football game, you have less for everything else. A 2021 study dropped the mic on this. It found that people with low sports interests scored significantly higher in openness to experience. They are getting their emotional highs from different places. While the fan is crying over a fumble, you are getting chills from a piece of music. While they are bonding over a trade, you are bonding over a philosophy. You aren't incapable of passion. You just invest your passion where the return is real, where the beauty is tangible. And here's the quiet, radical truth that non-fans understand intuitively. When the game ends, the fan has to return to reality. They have to go back to their boring job, their mundane life. They have been living vicariously for 3 hours. But you've been living your own life. You aren't watching someone else's struggle, you're engaged in your own. You aren't practicing for a conversation about a draft pick. You're having actual conversations with actual people. You are more present. So the next time someone looks at you with pity because you don't know the score, don't feel small. Feel different. Your brain isn't missing the tribe, it's functioning without the noise. Your reward system isn't broken, it's just not impressed by millionaires playing catch. You aren't playing their game, you're playing your own. And in your game, the stakes aren't about a trophy, they're about your art, your relationships, your ideas, your life. And honestly, that's a much bigger game to win. If that felt like a breath of fresh air, you need to stick around, because we're about to dive into why the quiet kid in the room is actually processing information at a depth the loudmouths can't even imagine. Click the video on screen to find out why silence might be your ultimate advantage.